this president is one who reaches out, tries to work with the other party. He did try to do that at the very beginning of his administration, 3 days into the administration on the stimulus package. Met secretly with the leadership in the House and the Senate, got no votes out of the House, got 3 votes out of the Senate, and a quarter to a third of the bill, the stimulus package, were tax cuts and other things the Republicans wanted. They got what they wanted, but they still said no, and they tried to embarrass him. He will continue to reach out and to work with people in the other party, but the problem with the other party is there's no moderates left. The endangered species in Washington is not the polar bear. It's a moderate Republican. There's nobody there anymore, and so he's going to have a problem. He also has a problem with his own party, in the House in particular. In the House, there are about 80 so-called progressives. There are a bunch of people in the middle. There are 51 Blue Dog Democrats. About 15 of the Blue Dog Democrats are not coming back. It's very hard to pull that coalition together. I think he overlearned also the lessons of 1994, when Clinton tried to push through a health care package and didn't take into account the views of the chairs, like John Dingell and Rostenkowski, chairman of the Ways and Means Committee, a tax committee that had to pay for it, and others, before they pushed it on the Hill. Rahm Emanuel and Phil Scialero, who's head of legislative affairs in the White House, were there then, and they gave him advice, I think, that, well, give the chairs more freedom. Well, he gave them too much freedom. Allowed Henry Waxman to go forward first with cap and trade, using up lots of political chits and capital, and then he went after health care reform. Both packages were much too liberal for the Senate. The president eventually intervened in the discussions in the Senate. I think he's learned a lesson, and that is you've got to hit hard, you've got to give direction, you've got to show what you want, and you've got to ask for what you want, and then when you compromise, you've got to get something if you give something. And that's a hard thing to do when the other party isn't willing to work with you. Now, it's going to be even worse after the election, because he's likely to have a divided party government. When divided party government occurs, presidential support scores, in other words, the probability of the president getting what he wants, goes way down. Let's think about Clinton. Clinton had a 98% presidential support score in '94. He lost the '94 election in the House and the Senate. It went to 38% batting average presidential support score. This is likely to happen with Obama. He's going to have to reach out and work with the Republicans if they're willing to work. He's going to have to find places where they're willing to work. Energy's one, education's another. Some people thought maybe immigration. I doubt it, but there are a few others like that. Now, when it comes to foreign policy, and when it comes to the war, he has support from the Republicans. He doesn't have support from the far left. So it's going to be an interesting dynamic building the coalition for the continuation of the use of resources in Afghanistan, for example.